What's up, guys? Dadalorian here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I just wanted to give my quick, kind of 2 cents on the whole, Maul thing with the Wan Kenobi show. Number one, I feel like I was very excited to about the thought and theory of seeing, Darth Maul in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I personally have always felt like they've kind of been like the yin and yang to each other. A very essential kind of villain, in Obi-Wan, Kenobi's story. Kind of seeing, that Maul was responsible for the death of his mentor, his Jedi Master, Qui-Gon Jinn. Maul was responsible for the death of pretty much the love of his life, the Duchess Satine. So I feel like, bringing him into the midst of, Obi-Wan Kenobi's story could have been interesting and essential, where it's like, man, they have such a interesting history with each other. Like some small snippet or something I thought would be interesting to see a Maul in the show. That's just me. I was kind of excited about that idea. Also, this is another little thing that I've been thinking about. One thing that we have not seen, at least that I don't think we've seen, is Darth Maul going up against Darth Vader. Not to say that that's necessary, not to say that that was ever going to happen, but just something I'm like, hey, we've never seen that. And in Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's kind of like a thing of the past and the present, where you think about Anakin essentially replaced, Darth Maul. And I think there would be some interesting, not to say that there ever was any friction, Darth Maul kind of knew that Darth Sidious had this grand master plan, and he was kind of forgotten in a sense because, Darth Sidious thought he was dead. So anyway, having Maul in the show, I thought personally would have been kind of cool. I thought it would have been kind of interesting. I personally don't think it would have taken away from, Obi-Wan Kenobi's story. I feel like it would have added a really interesting layer. But anyway, what I wanted to share, aside from just my own thoughts, is just a little bit of what they have to say in the article, if you guys haven't read it already. And it's pretty straightforward, honestly. It's just talking about, early, plans for what they were going to possibly do with Maul in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and then how basically that whole thing kind of got scrapped, with a rewritten idea. They wanted to go bigger, and that's why, they brought in Inquisitors. They brought in, obviously Darth Vader, and it seems like it just would have been out of place, for them to have Maul, in the show, at least from what they're saying here. It definitely seems like Ray Park was doing some things behind the scenes, like, some test footage and doing some stunt training and kind of getting ready and geared up. Maybe they even shot a few things, as far as I know, for the show. At least that's what it sounds like. Mind you, this dates back to 2020 for, some of the things that they had been working on for the show. And then the production for this got halted at a certain point. So obviously a lot of changes can happen, over the course of like 2 years, you know what I mean? But I still personally feel that having Darth Maul in the show, I don't think it would have taken away from Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think it, and that's not to say you needed to have a big presence of Darth Maul, but it could be something very small, something very minimal, which I'll talk about again here in just a second. But the main thing, and if you guys want to read through this article, because I already read through it for myself, but if you guys want to get all the details about it, I'll make sure I post that link here in the chat. But again, to me, if I can be honest, I just feel like it's unnecessary. Like, this seems like it's the best example I can give is like, if you're in a relationship, you know what I mean, and you and your significant other are having an argument or whatever, you're having family problems, going to social media isn't the place to post those issues. You need to talk to that other person. Not to say that there's an issue here. That's not what I'm saying, but it's more like this seems like something that didn't need to be revealed to the public, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, like, let the show come out first, and then you can tell us some of these behind the scenes things, like and if they're going to do like the Obi-Wan Kenobi gallery kind of thing, and it's like, hey, this is what we originally had drawn out. We were going to bring Darth Maul in. We could be like, oh man, that would have been crazy. You know what I mean? But we just got the trailer. We just got, pictures and behind the scenes stuff for what's going on. I just feel like this is just, I'm like, okay, this is interesting news, but why are they telling us this now? You know what I mean? Why bringing it up now? The show hasn't even come out. So I feel like this is just kind of, news that could have been hush hush. They could have kept that, for like after the show actually came out, use that for like a gallery. It's so premature, I feel like, to give voice to something like this. Like, oh, by the way, here's the trailer. Oh, also, by the way, we're not gonna have Darth Maul in it. And you know what I mean? I'm just like, whatever. I just feel like it was kind of unnecessary to kind of bring that to light, just in my opinion. I feel like it's something that they could have just not even, brought to the surface at all. But back to my main point. One of the things I think that would have been kind of interesting, with Maul, obviously, yeah, like the last time, we seen him in live action was in the Solo film. So a lot of us thought that there could have been, something more with him, obviously, with Crimson Dawn, which I think, kind of would have been cool, essentially. But I mean, it is what it is, man. It doesn't need to have the same kind of narrative as The Mandalorian, where you have this lone wolf kind of protecting the cub kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like and I think they kind of mentioned that in the article too, where they were like, they're trying to stray away from, kind of that sense of things. But one of the things, again, circling back to Maul, that I thought would have been kind of cool is, essentially, I feel like what we're going to get in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show is a different kind of Obi-Wan. He's not going to be the same guy that, you're used to from the Clone Wars or, episode 3. You know what I mean? He's going to be a little bit more broken, maybe a little bit of PTSD. I don't know. But I think that that's interesting. And then I thought, and you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this may be the time where Maul is on, like, Dathomir. Wasn't he there for, like, quite a while? And I know in Rebels, that's where Ezra and some of the folks in Rebels kind of met up and ran into him. But essentially, maybe there's some glimpse of Maul that they could have had in the show, where you also see a different kind of Maul. Like, he's not necessarily like he's not Darth Maul anymore. He's just Maul. You know what I mean? And obviously, I know we get that in Rebels, but again, maybe we could have gotten an earlier glimpse of that, where you kind of see him, slowly deteriorate again. You know what I mean? You think about how we kind of met him in Clone Wars, where he was kind of crazy and had the spider legs and kind of lost it. Not to say that he has to go back to some of those moments, but again, I thought it would have been kind of interesting to see a more broken Maul kind of deteriorate, backwards in a sense. And the same thing, with Obi-Wan Kenobi. They're both different, from when they met each other last. So I thought having a moment like that, where again, it's not like you need to have Maul doing a bunch of crazy stuff and hunting Obi-Wan Kenobi down, but I think kind of showing, the yin and yang between the two, but also how they're both not who they used to be. I think having that element in the show, if you were going to bring Maul in, would have been kind of cool. So anyway, this isn't crazy breaking news. I know there's been tons of other creators who have shared their opinion on this already. And I just felt the urge. I was like, I kind of want to talk about it, because I'm one of those guys that actually kind of wanted Maul in. I thought it would have been kind of cool. But you guys let me know what you think. Does this like hype you up? Are you a little bummed out about this news? Whatever, however you guys feel, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Also, if you're new to my channel, please be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys for the next video. Peace.